Well, hey there, hobby homesteaders. Welcome back to Peaks Peak. My name's Lucas, and we're sharing our hobbies here on 38 acres in eastern Kentucky. And I am back in the Woodyard. And I feel like I have kind of been away from my Woodyard for a while. And that's kind of because I've had to put the brakes on just a little bit because I'm waiting for my new piece of equipment, so that I have the capabilities of moving forward with my equipment shed build, all the things that we're wanting to do here. Some of that is I have some logs that are too big for me to move, and I'm just kind of at a point where that's gonna have to happen. And we're getting really close. We're talking to a lot of companies, we're getting all the prices together, and we're making our final evaluations. But we're still not fully decided. So after we visit the Equip Expo, which is probably going on about the time this video is going to come out, then we're going to make our final decision, and we should have just enough money saved up. I'll be right at the point where I know I can afford at least one of the offers that I've gotten, and I'm pretty excited about that. So stay tuned for more information on that. But right now, we're up here because we have some little upgrades that we want to do to our sawmill shed. Now, you guys saw I had the sawmill shed powered by a portable solar panel that's mounted to the roof, and it was running to a solar power station that we've had for a while, and we had some problems with. We installed these high bay lights, which draw quite a bit of current. So the two upgrades we're gonna do today have to do with those things. I got a comment from Keith, who mentioned that he runs a solar power station and uses LED light strips that draw a lot less current. And in thinking about that, you know, I put up the high bay lights because I need good bright light for filming. But I wondered if I could get by with less, because we're drawing an awful lot of current with these lights. So if I run them for 3 or 4 hours, I can draw all the power out of my power station and run it down quicker than the sun can keep up with charging it. So I've ordered some lights to install in here that I'm going to try, and they will at least be good for when I'm not filming, but I need a little bit of additional light. So it's not going to be a waste either way, but they might be a better solution than these high bay lights that we're using right now. But the big upgrade that we've got is we don't have to fool with that junk power station that we had powering the sawmill shed anymore. I gave it to a friend because it crashed and I was done fooling with the company. I wanted to try something different. Now, I'll come back to that and I'll explain what happened to that power station and why I just gave up on it. But first, I want to show you what we have now. And I've had this for a couple of weeks because I wanted to do at least some solid basic testing of it before I even talk about it on a video. What we have here is the EBL H2400. This is another 2400 watt power station, so it will handle the draw that we have on it. It will run my air compressor and a lot of the things, you know, we're going to be using it the same way that we always have. And the size of those units was always big enough. It's just that the last power station we had wasn't dependable. I wanted to do some testing on this one before I started talking about it. And so what I've done is I brought it up here. I installed it with it not fully charged so that I could give it a couple of days and see how it reacts to the solar panel and how well it charges. And it does a really good job. It charges consistently. It powers our air compressor. We've tested that, and we tested it on our high bay lights. It is powering those adequately, so far so good. Now I have a couple of torture tests I want to do to this one because they're the reason for the failure of our last unit. One is I left the high bay lights on and plugged in on accident one night, and when I came back up here, it had just killed the power unit. So what happened is it totally discharged that unit to a point that the processor in it didn't recognize the battery, so it wouldn't charge. Well, that seems like the most ridiculous failure you can have, because surely to goodness there's a fail-safe involved so that when you run it down, that's not the end of it, because essentially you would have a one-time use power station, and for the cost of those things, that is just not okay. So that was the 4th failure we had on that machine. I was just done dealing with them. I didn't want to go through their warranty process anymore because I didn't want you guys to see me using a power station that was that unreliable. So I just got rid of it. We'll keep you posted on the EBL, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get those new lights installed and see how much power they draw in comparison to these high bay lights. We'll do that, and then we're going to run down and we're going to plug my freezers into this unit, because you know there's a lot of people relying on these things to get through storms and to keep from losing their meat in freezers and things like that. So I'm going to test this and see if it will start up one or both of my freezers and power them, and we'll get an estimate as to how long it will power those. So we'll share that with you, and then tonight when I go down, I'm going to leave the lights on. I'm going to run this thing down so that I can come back up tomorrow and check it and see if it recovers, and we'll start charging again. So that's kind of our plan for this video. Stick around and let's see how this thing performs. Okay, power this thing on, and I'm going to start with this small freezer, and I'm going to plug it in, and then we'll turn the power on. Okay, kicked on. It hit 690 watts. All right, we plug the next one in, and it kicks up to 1046. Now it's not gonna run the whole time. The compressor won't run the whole time. So there's a good chance you're gonna get, yeah. So the compressor's kicked off, and now we're basically drawing no power because both units are up to temperature. So as long as you stay out of them, you're gonna be good for a while. I mean, we're showing 55 hours because basically the only power that's being drawn on this are the lights to show that the power is on the freezer. There, I got that one to kick on finally. And it's drawing 130. Let's see if I can get the second one to kick on with it. I'm gonna have to get me some steaks out. Some fillets maybe. Yeah, the other one just kicked on, so now both freezers are running together and they're pulling 196 watts. So let's see how long they run before it gets them back down to the cool temperature and they kick off. Yeah, so the freezers ran for about 15 minutes and kicked off, and they use 0 watts in between compressor run times. So if you're not opening your freezer, it's gonna hold that cool in for a long time. So I'm thinking this power station really would get you through most power outages you could ever encounter. All right guys, well here's where we're at on all of this. Right now we're pulling 600 watts on this unit. We've got 3 hours of battery life remaining. And what I'm going to do, it's 5 o'clock, so I'm gonna let these lights run this thing all the way down. And once it shuts off because it's dead this evening, we'll come back up here and I'm gonna unplug the lights so that they don't continue to draw when it wakes up tomorrow when the sun comes out. We'll let this thing just react how it's gonna react. And when I get home from work tomorrow, we'll see if it's charged itself back up. Now, it won't charge it all the way back up. If it's completely dead, then the sunlight is not gonna charge it all the way back up by the time I get home from work. But it should have some life in it when I get back home. So that's what we're looking for. And I just basically testing to make sure it has a safety mechanism in it to keep it from running the batteries too far down and causing it to die like the last one did. So we're gonna test that, and that'll be kind of the final results before we shut this video down. All right, well, I had to change a tire on my trailer. So I got that tire mounted and put back on the trailer, and I'm ready to go in and get a shower at 6:45, and so I thought I'd come up. The lights are still on, but I went ahead and kicked the compressor back on to run because it'll run it down in just 3 or 4 minutes. So let's go in here and watch it die. There it went. Okay. Well, so that's a good sign that it didn't just crush the system. It's got a readout and it's showing on the screen. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make sure we unplug everything. All right, we've got everything unplugged from it. We've got the solar panel still plugged into it. So we'll come back up tomorrow and make sure it takes a charge. However, I'm already confident that we're in good shape because it obviously didn't run itself so far down that it can't tell you what's going on. We'll come back after work tomorrow and see what kind of battery power we have. I think tomorrow's going to be sunny, so we'll see. Well, I am off work and ready to go check and see how our power station is charging. I'm kind of excited about it because I noticed that my old power station charged very, very slowly off of this solar panel. In fact, there were days that the drain on the actual unit, even though I wasn't running anything, was more than what I was gaining in power. So that unit just was struggling all the way around. It's a little after 3 in the afternoon. I just got off work, changed clothes, and came straight up here. I think probably we ended up getting, I'd say, about 5 hours of sunlight on the panel so far today. I don't expect it to be charged up very much, but I'm hoping to see, you know, at least 10, 15% on the battery. And the sun is, at this point in the evening, starting to get, or in the afternoon, it's starting to head off behind those trees to where our solar panel doesn't get just a ton of sunlight the rest of the day. So, you know, that 5-6 hour mark where our shed is probably about all the sun we're gonna get. Let's see if we've got any charge on our system. Oh, okay. We're charging at 98 watts. And we're up to 26% on our charge. So that's pretty good. I'll take that. So if we're getting 98 watts in it right now when the sun is not directly on it, that's pretty solid. And actually I was thinking about it, and it was probably about 5 in the afternoon yesterday when I was drawing about 100 watts of charge. So we might get a couple more hours of charging on this. I'm not gonna be filming inside the shed tonight, so I'm just gonna leave the lights turned off and let it charge. And I'll check it again before I go down and we'll see what it ends up at. And I'll plug that in here at the end of this video. So far my impressions on this EBL power station are pretty good. This company, I believe, is maybe the same company as the Gree-Cell company we've worked with that made the lithium batteries for the ATVs and actually made the solar panel that's on the roof of this cabin. And I've had good luck with those products. The Gree-Cell ATV battery has been going strong for over a year now. No failures, no charge issues, no problems in the cold. So that's been a good product. And I'm hoping that we get a lot of good life out of this. Now, I will say, we leave it in this Sawmill shed and it's covered from the weather. It doesn't get any rain on it whatsoever, but it is kind of out in the moisture, and I wouldn't expect it to last as if it were stored inside a climate controlled building. But I definitely expect better performance than what we got out of the last one. So I'll keep you posted. And part of the reason I do things the way that I do, you know, some people will say, well, you can't expect it to last very long keeping it outside like that, or it might get moisture affecting it. Sometimes when I use my tools, they say, well, they're not designed to be used in that way. And generally I realize that, but I want to show people where the line is and how far you can push things. Because, you know, a lot of these products we're getting to test. I know that if it lives through some of the things I put it through, then chances are most of you are not going to push it quite that hard. Then you'll have a pretty good idea of how well it's going to last for you. Hopefully that helps you guys make decisions on whether these products are anything you're interested in or not. And ultimately, that's all up to you guys. I definitely don't want anybody making their decisions just because Lucas said, hey, I've got this product, you should buy one too. That's not what we're out here to do. Now, I intentionally did not name the failed product in this video because that's not what this video is about. But if you are interested in learning more about the other power stations that we have tested on our homestead, I'll put a link to a playlist right up here so that you can click on that and check out some of the other solar products that we've been using. You'll get an idea of what's working and what is not. So with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. Until next time, get outside and enjoy God's creation because it is beautiful out here. You all have a good day.